How is everybody doing? I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. And at present, okay, I have to go back. Present, talk about certain topics because there's not much going on in boxing, to be honest with you. So we're going to talk about the present topics that you see there. Good morning to everybody. If it's morning for you guys, evening or night, depends on what time of day you're talking about. Please thought I turned this off. So let's talk a little bit of boxing. Oh, good. My mouth and lips and teeth are all yellow. That's from saffron. I just pulled up some saffron. Oh, which reminds me, I have to go across here, pick up that saffron. Right now, ahora. Today's a little bit overcast. It's an overcast day, but we're getting things done. What's about to rain? It's about to get down, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to happen. All right, my signal's going to disappear for a minute. Don't lose track of it. I'm just doing X, Y, and Z. So it's really going to rain today. I got some other things I got to do, so we'll see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen. Way back here. This is good. This is great. Next route to boost the signal. So let's talk a little bit of boxing. Nice. So Floyd Mayweather made an announcement. He said that he's definitely done with pro boxing. He's done with it. And he gave his reasons. And he explained how he's still making a lot of money doing exhibitions. So he may go down that route. I'm not mad at him. I think he should have done that. Should have made that statement a long time ago, because it doesn't make sense right now going into pro boxing for him. It just doesn't. The preparation and the work that's necessary to do the pro boxing thing. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's my personal opinion. Put in all that work. But, to each his own. I'm glad that he was able to make that decision finally. He should have just stayed retired after the Conor McGregor thing, to be honest with you. And I think that's what he's doing, so that's smart. He finished his career 50-0, and that's good enough. Why try to do something extra and get yourself in trouble? Get yourself hurt or just go through unnecessary things. You get a win, but you're damaged. It doesn't make any sense. Done enough in the sport of boxing already, so what does he have to prove? Nothing. The only thing he was going to do was rematch a guy he already beat comprehensively, which didn't make any sense to me. But I would have watched it. So, if they want to do the rematch, let them do it. But it wasn't necessary. And that leads me to Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. I still feel that this rematch between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz is unnecessary. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I mean, why is Wilder facing Ortiz again? He figured him out already. Wilder himself, in an interview I was listening to, was talking about how, he was able to figure out the southpaw stance, the wildiness, the craftiness of Ortiz. Kudos to Wilder in beating Ortiz, because Ortiz was very much avoided, very good, a counterpuncher, as Wilder explained. And again, a lot of people don't give Wilder credit for beating Ortiz, but nobody's facing Ortiz, right? Nobody's jumping at the bit to face Ortiz, right? So, like I said before, and I'll say it again, Wilder is a good boxer. He's a good boxer. He's not Tyson Fury, but he's a good boxer. And he's shown it time and time again. Against Bermane-Stiverne, he used his jab, kept Bermane-Stiverne at range. The second time, the fight was easier for him. He crashed Bermane-Stiverne and stopped him. Against Luis Ortiz, he had difficulty because Luis Ortiz was a very sharp counterpuncher. But he was able to counterpunch Luis Ortiz, counterpunch his left, and catch him over the top with his right. And if you just have power and you just, they say Wilder, he just wild with his shots like they think he is, you wouldn't be able to do that. You just wouldn't. All right. Luis Ortiz would have outboxed him, broke him down, probably even stopped him. Wilder's a much better boxer than people give him credit for, which is sad because he faced a very excellent boxer in Luis Ortiz. And a lot of people are saying, Luis Ortiz is 100 years old and all that. Listen, man. Luis Ortiz can box. Okay? He may not have all the names on his resume, but he can box. And box very, very well. Cuban school of boxing. So when people say that Wilder's win over Ortiz, they started to devalue Ortiz. But before the Wilder-Ortiz fight, they were evaluating Ortiz. And Ortiz hasn't faced anybody else. Anthony Joshua didn't face him. All right? These are facts. Now, whether you want to think that Joshua offered money to face Ortiz or not, he didn't face Ortiz. Okay? Joseph Parker didn't face him. Tyson Fury didn't face him. We're talking all the tough guys. Andy Ruiz hasn't faced him. Charles Martin never faced him. All the top guys that we talk about in boxing who actually became world champion, Bermane Stiverne never faced him. So all of these top guys didn't face him. Now, this is a guy, in a proper definition, who's been ducked. Now, truth be told, Anthony Joshua made him an offer to face him before the Andy Ruiz fight. Turned it down for the Wilder fight. Okay, maybe he fancies his chances better with Wilder, or maybe he just thought the offer wasn't good enough, or whatever. I don't know. But he's going back to face Wilder, which is kind of crazy because Wilder's the guy that knocked him out the first time. But he's going to get it, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Is it a pay-per-view? Maybe they get back end. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this rematch is going to go very much the way the first fight went. That is to say, Wilder's going to stop Luis Ortiz. And yes, Luis Ortiz was tired and he's working on his cardio and everything. But I think Wilder's just going to punish him even more this fight than the last fight. He's going to punish him even more. And Ortiz is not going to have an answer for it. And he's going to be better, fitter, sharper, and all of that, I know. Better conditioned and everything, but he's still going to get punished. And he's still going to get stopped. Okay? Because Wilder is a boxer. And he has showed us time and time again with Bermane Stiverne, when he gets his opponent the second time, he already knows what he's facing. So he's going to get him out of there even quicker. Well, that's why I'm not really interested in the Wilder-Ortiz 2 fight. 68 scrapbook, Ode to Wisdom, he's giving Ortiz a chance. And I understand. I mean, great strength and conditioning coaches there with him. He's going to be better shape. He's going to be sharper, but he's going to have the same style. And that's a style that Wilder figured out already. I always say, if a fighter's comprehensively beat another fighter, like there's no doubt that he beat him, like he stopped them or whatever, why are we having a rematch? Why? Is he run out of opponents? Why are we having a Luis Ortiz, Deontay Wilder rematch? We follow the Floyd Mayweather Jr. model. Floyd didn't rematch the guy unless people thought that guy beat him. Then he rematched him to just set the record straight. I beat him the first time. Look, I beat him again. Right? So I don't believe that we should be even entertaining this discussion about Ortiz and Wilder. Wilder should have moved on to someone else. And he does have other top heavyweights he could have faced. All right? Dillian White was there. Get him out the way. Derek Chisora was there. Get him out the way. The rematch with Tyson Fury makes sense because a lot of people believe that Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder, and clearly he beat him. So a rematch with Tyson Fury is a good fight. But to say that there's any other rematches he should have, no. If you stopped your opponent, that's as conclusive as it gets. Why do we need to see it? It wasn't even a close fight, right? So he dropped Luis Ortiz. How many times did he drop him? Twice, right? Or was it 3 times or 5 times? Something like that. He dropped him multiple times, 4 or 5 times. So at the end of the day, I just don't understand why we're even seeing this fight happening. A lot of people are making a hoopla about it and talking about that, and throwback fighters and stuff. But in my personal opinion, it's a waste of time. In my opinion, as a fight fan, I already know how it's gonna go. Barring Luis Ortiz pulls a miracle out of his butt, this fight is going one way and one way only. So why do I need to see that? I already know Wilder beat him comprehensively the last time. He figured him out. That's how he was able to knock him out. It wasn't like a lucky punch or something, which a lot of people think Wilder's a lucky puncher. No, he's a smart boxer. All right, he's a smart boxer. So if you look at Wilder, he doesn't throw more than 40 punches around. If he was this Rocky Marciano kind of dude, was just throwing a lot of punches, then Rocky Marciano was a smart fighter himself. If he was this Rocky Marciano kind of dude, he'd be throwing 55, 60 punches around. He doesn't do that. So I don't understand why people have this impression that Wilder doesn't box smart. The other thing is Wilder doesn't really take that much punishment. If you really pay attention, he did get buzzed in the 7th round against Luis Ortiz, but he doesn't take that much punishment like a lot of people think he does. All right, so I just don't see how Luis Ortiz is going to beat Deontay Wilder, to be honest with you. Okay. And a lot of people criticize Deontay Wilder's boxing skill and IQ. His IQ is pretty high, and his boxing skill is pretty sharp. That's not his strongest point. His power is the thing that separates him from everybody else. But he can box, no doubt about that. He can box. I heard people say, "But Deontay Wilder can't box." That's the dumbest statement I've ever heard. First of all, he has a good jab. He has a mix between a down jab and a power jab. He also uses sometimes the up jab. He has different looks he gives you. Yes, his skill sets are not all honed, okay? His jab is probably the most honed skill set he has. His stance is more athletic than it is, the proper stance. But you can see him trying different things. He constantly tries different things, different fights, to give different, different feels. So you can see that he understands and he's seeing, great boxers, and he's watching them and he's observing them and he's trying different things. Obviously, because he hasn't rehearsed it and he hasn't had a long amateur background or hasn't started boxing very early, he's not going to be as sharp as those other guys. And the other guys are in lower weight classes, so all of that you have to take into consideration. But he has nice, quick response time. He has good reaction time. He's athletic. And so because of that, it kind of gives him an edge. Even how he knocked down Tyson Fury in the 12th round, which was a legitimate knockdown, he skipped in. So he closed the distance very quickly. He wasn't doing that before. And he was able to, off the jab, catch him with was it the right hand, left hook? I think he put a combination. He was doing it all night. But this time he skipped in. So Tyson Fury now didn't make that adjustment in distance, and so he got caught as he was trying to roll the punches. And these are just little things that Wilder intuitively does, which I think is very good for him. Wow. Be careful with this hand. Anyway, you guys have seen my mug up close. I'm just busy doing some work here. I do a lot of different things. But you guys see me always stationary, but I'm always moving around and stuff. Anyways. Yeah, so I think that I was going to beat Luis Ortiz by knockout. And people are just going to be waiting for that knockout to happen. If it goes to points, that'll be a surprise. Also, Canelo. What do I have to talk about with Canelo? Canelo, as I said before to you guys, I believe is the face of boxing. I also think that Canelo is pound for pound number one in the world. I listened to George Foreman's breakdown of Canelo and why he put him over Terence Crawford and Vasily Lomachenko. And I think that his explanation is the best explanation I've heard. I heard Khalil Cecile speak on this as well. That Canelo, when he makes certain mistakes, he goes back and works on them so that those holes in his game are changed up. And I can tell that he started doing that since the Mayweather fight. He's been working on holes in his game, and he's been changing up his style somewhat to be more of a Very smart, very sharp fighter. Okay, so he's been honing certain skills, and George Foreman also expressed that. He said why he thinks Canelo is pound for pound number one in the world over Terence Crawford and Lomachenko is because he feels that Terence Crawford and Lomachenko have basically capped out. They're not really learning at the rate that Canelo's learning boxing, in the sense that Canelo's actually every single time you see him, he's getting better. And he believes that Lomachenko and these guys, they're not getting better at that rate that Canelo's getting better at. Lomachenko's kind of capped out, and Canelo's still going, and Terence Crawford is kind of capped out as well. I guess it's a level of opposition that's not bringing out, challenging him to step up to another level. Whereas Canelo, on the other hand, is facing opposition that makes him have to adapt and change levels to an extent that Foreman believes every single fight he's seeing something new from Canelo all the time. And he believes that puts Canelo above those guys. He thinks he's pound for pound number one because of that. He's changing and evolving. And I heard Clarissa Shields say the same thing, that Canelo keeps on making adjustments after fight, so that he doesn't come back making the same mistakes. And as a result, she thinks he's damn near unbeatable because of that. He keeps on doing something like that. And I think that's the point. That's the point with Canelo. He has been evolving. He has been sharpening up his own skills. If you look at Canelo walking down Gennady Golovkin and you watch Canelo walking down Sergey Kovalev, the style is different. You know, what he did with Gennady Golovkin was a little bit different. Yeah, he was using the high guard, but in a different kind of way when he was walking down Gennady Golovkin to how he walked down Sergey Kovalev, picking off the shots, staying behind a tight high guard. It almost reminds me of a high guard like Floyd Mayweather has. Very, very compact, tight high guard that you can't even hook around. Can't even go to the body because he can pick you with his elbows. He can take his elbow and just drop it down and pick off the shot. You know, he doesn't even have to parry it. He just uses his elbow and pick off the shot. And I just think that's just brilliant. And then he's still using the roving guard with it. So he can still kind of parry and catch punches, even with that tight guard that he's bringing. And remember, if you want to have a guard walking to a guy, when I say tight guard, you can't keep your hands tight. Because if you keep your hands too tight, you can't react enough to block a punch. Right? If your hands are too tight, a guy can go around your guard. So you have to keep that relaxed, tight guard that's sharp. And that's very fucking hard to do. You know, and I just think Canelo's on a level to Terence Crawford and Lomachenko, to be honest with you. You know, and just listening to George Foreman break that down and say that. And George Foreman's a guy who talked about Mayweather. He thinks that he's the best ever, better than Muhammad Ali. He said that. And to hear George Foreman saying these things really registers very strongly with me. You know, I think Lomachenko has capped out. I don't think, you know, look at Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell, for example. Lomachenko had difficulty getting in on Luke Campbell. He did finally drop Luke Campbell, but Luke Campbell came back and fought back. But look how difficult it was for Lomachenko to get on the inside of Luke Campbell. Look how Canelo, on the other hand, and Sergey Kovalev boxed a hell of a fight. You know, I was listening to Buddy McGirt, and he was talking about how he thought Canelo was exposed. I didn't see that, but he thought that Canelo was exposed. And I just thought the composure of Canelo, first of all, and the way how he found the openings. He wasn't bullying his way in on Kovalev. He was literally boxing his way in, slipping punches and getting to the inside and landing body shots or head shots. He was counter punching brilliantly. When Kovalev tried to throw, you know, his power hand, wasn't catching Canelo. I mean, he caught him once, I think, with the power hand. Snapped his head way back. Canelo went, he snapped. When Kovalev hits, he hit Canelo with a body shot. And Canelo's whole body came off the ground and moved backwards. I was like, damn. You know, because Kovalev's just that much powerful than Canelo is. Way strong, way harder puncher than Canelo is. And people just didn't realize it in the fight. When he really teed off when he really tried to put some oomph for it, just some speed behind the right hand, Canelo would counter him with a left hook to the head or to the body. He was not playing. He wanted to shut down Kovalev from the get-go. You know, and then Kovalev with, you know, little stamina problems, you know, it is what it is. Now, Kovalev said that he came in his last two fights 7 pounds over the weight limit and 5 pounds over the weight limit. So he was actually comfortable making the 185 rehydration the next day. But I just think the psychological pressure on you having to make weight again, especially when you didn't make weight the first time, I think that's also a factor that you have to factor in. But actually, one person made a very good, valid point that Canelo actually, if they were fighting for the IBF belt, Kovalev would still have had to make the 185. So it really wasn't. When I think about the rehydration weight, it really isn't that bad. But the thing that really gets me is that, they didn't report. Like I said, they just didn't report the rehydration weight. Um, but Kovalev, I mean, he fought a hell of a fight. I don't care what nobody say. He fought. That's the best I've ever seen Kovalev in terms of boxing. He boxed very, very well. He tried to mix up his power punches with, the shots to keep range as well as probe. He was probing to try and get past Canelo's defense, but it was very hard to get past Canelo's defense. His defense was just, oh man, it was beautiful. That's why Canelo was able to walk down Kovalev. It was his defense that allowed him to be able to do that. And I don't think I don't even think Terrence Crawford did that against Jose Benavidez. Jose Benavidez was walking down Terrence Crawford. To see Canelo doing that, I mean, it's crazy. I can't even explain to you guys how difficult that is to do, keeping a tight defense like that. And the only guys I've ever seen do that, and they didn't do it for the entire fight, is Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was able to walk down Canelo Alvarez, much bigger guy, much stronger guy than him. I've seen Floyd also walk down Zab Judah, who was a natural welterweight, and he was able to walk him down. Oh, that's my neighbor. Mr. Mike, everything's good? All right, all right. So, I mean, all right, all right, all right, all right. Yeah, that's my neighbor. So, I mean, did I? I think I went over my scene. Yeah, I did. Okay. Let me take this one. Um. So Canelo, he just does some things, man, that really impressed me. And the thing about it is, Kovalev did some things that really impressed me as well. And I'm surprised that other boxers didn't see what I saw. Like, other fighters didn't see what I saw. I thought it was a beautiful chess match. And they said it was going to be a chess match. They said that going into this fight. People expected, Teddy Atlas and all those guys said they expected a chess match from Kovalev versus Canelo. Kovalev tried to get into his groove. He started off the back trying to walk down Canelo. Canelo circled him twice. He did the same thing he did to Gennady Golovkin. He circled that ring twice, and then he started doing his thing. He had a good look at Kovalev, I'll get this point. So, I mean, wait, hold on. I mean, you got to really applaud this guy for what he does. And he doesn't do it. A lot of people were talking about Canelo was losing the fight. I don't think people understand. Canelo don't waste punches. He don't waste punches. So, he not just going to walk you down like Angulo, one of them guys, and be throwing punches. Even if he misses his punches and comes up short with his punches, he's still gauging you. You know what I mean? He put some real smart praise. They talking about Gennady Golovkin, give Gennady Golovkin praise. They talking about Artur Beterbiev and giving him praise. But they just don't understand Canelo be doing it in a whole different kind of way. Golovkin still gets hit. And Beterbiev still gets hit. Canelo don't get hit. He don't get hit. And that's some stuff that you... I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, that's some next level stuff, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing who Canelo faces next. I was listening to Buddy McGirt talking about how Canelo shouldn't face any other light heavyweights, but who's he to tell Canelo what to do and what not to do? I mean, I respect Buddy McGirt after seeing what Kovalev did, but don't get it twisted. If Canelo could handle Kovalev, Buddy Girl truly believes in his heart of hearts that Kovalev is the best light heavyweight out there, then why can't he handle Bitterbeef and Bevo? I just don't get it. I'm not saying he would win. I'm just saying, why can't he? He's got that defense, and that's the thing that um, a lot of people just don't understand because they don't understand what's happening with the fight. I was hearing Jeff Mayweather talk about it was a boring fight. I couldn't believe that Jeff Mayweather was saying that because he knows very, very well what that was going on in there with the chess match. I don't think it was a boring fight. I don't think Mayweather's fights are boring fights. But it's whether you can appreciate the boxing going on in there. I mean, you look at throwback fights. Every now and then it bursts out into explosive exchange. But for the most part, it's very technical. Like one shot, and then the guys clinch up or they wrestle on the inside or infighting. It wasn't super duper exciting. It just throwback fights are like that. So why all of a sudden, everybody talk about Sugar Ray Robinson. The reason people talk about Sugar Ray Robinson is because it's power. But if you look at the fights, some of them are just, according to Jeff Mayweather, boring, or according to, other people, boring. But I guess people expect Canelo to be in barn burners all the time. I mean, the Golovkin fights brought that out, but it's very strategic. You can see even with Danny Jacobs how strategic he was, and people think that Canelo's this big, combination of punches, throws like 300 punches. He don't do that. He's a pot shotter. He's a classical boxer. He's from the school of Sugar Ray Leonard and Mayweather. He comes from the school of Pernell Whitaker. Comes from the school also of Mexican boxers like El Finito Lopez. These guys, Juan Manuel Marquez, Ignatius Beristain. This is the people that we're talking about. That school of boxing. That way he come from. Robert Garcia and the Garcias, who they got guys who brawl and shit, but also they're guys who use their jab, come off their jab and that kind of stuff. So I don't really understand why, and I know a lot of Mexican public and Mexican fans, they know what boxing really is, but I just don't understand why people be, knocking him like that. Only thing I can think of is because he got favorable decisions by wide margins where that should never have happened. I think that's why they don't like Canelo like that. And then, of course, he seemed like a prima donna doing his own catch weights, 155, right? And how he would just turn down certain things. And he choose what fights he want to do. But he can dictate because he the dude. So that's why he dictate. But people make it sound like, he's this dude who a prima donna and he gets his own way. And they don't like that. And then their favorite fighter was supposed to punish him, they didn't punish him. Instead, Canelo beat them. So they can't live with that. And I'm like, man, I don't need to take a chill pill, man. I'm gonna just put this here. Moment. Yeah, peoples. So, and then with this clenbuterol issue where the WBC reversed the clenbuterol thing, so Canelo's cleared of being found dirty at clenbuterol, people don't even like that either. Even though the dude genuinely feels in his heart that he was not dirty. You know, and I'm not saying he wasn't dirty. Well, I'm not gonna vouch for him like that. You know, it looks that way that he wasn't dirty, but I can't really say. I'm not even gonna try and pretend like I know, that he was dirty or he wasn't dirty. I'm not gonna play that. That definitely is not my thing. Okay, I gotta go down. So but yeah, some more stuff in boxing. Um, One of the other things I want to talk to you guys about. Hold on a second. Let me just go use the bathroom. Yeah, before I go to the other stuff, also Canelo's 29. So as much people talk about all this stuff, 29-year-old Jamal Charlo ain't done what Canelo's done, right? And people say, well, he got the opportunities. Nope, 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 nope. That's not true. The thing is, Canelo went after what he wanted to go after, and he made it happen. And he put himself in a position where he could have made that happen. You know, Jamal Charlo was not in that position while Canelo was, right? And that game plan for Canelo worked out. Golden Boy did a good job with that. Man, I got stains on my mouth. Hey, it's all good. But I wanted to say one more thing too. He's 29 and he's still learning the game of boxing. And he got all this veteran experience already. And that's something people don't realize, that this guy is way ahead of the curve in terms of these new guys that are coming up. Way ahead of them. And why I think he's going to be the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, and he will be one of the greatest boxers of all time. And I think he will also be, he may rival Floyd for the best ever title, is because, even though he has a loss, is because that he took Floyd Mayweather, by the way, is because the rate at which he's going at the age of 29, he's going to be 30 just now. He gonna surpass every single Mexican boxer out there. Okay, he's got a ways to go before he surpasses Julio Cesar Chavez in terms of resume. In terms of skill set, I think he's just a better boxer than Julio Cesar Chavez Senior. Period. And Julio Cesar Chavez Senior, I think he knows this, and that's why he's backing Canelo, because he's seen something special, and he realizes this kid is special. He can do it all. He could bang with you. He could walk your ass down. He could keep his defense tight and walk your ass down. He can fight off the back foot. He's realized the kid is special. So I think that Julio Cesar Chavez is very hesitant to say negative things about Canelo, and he's kind of endorsed him already. I could see that, and he's saying, well, the Mexican people, they query whether he will have a third fight with Triple G. Would like to see that, and those kinds of things. But in my personal opinion, Canelo's just so much better than Triple G that why would we want to see a third fight? But if people want to see the third fight, just get them the third fight and stop Triple G and then end the story, right? And then they're gonna say Triple G was old and whatever. He got beat up by other people. Canelo waited for him to face him the third time, whatever. But at the end of the day, they're gonna make a conclusive exclamation point. He'd have knocked out Triple G, and that would be that. Okay, so he could do that. I mean, but in my personal opinion, as he's going down in weight, I'm hearing that he's going to face Billy Joe Saunders. I think that's a good fight. That's a really good fight. I picked Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant as the best 168 pounders. I prefer if he faced Callum Smith, because Callum Smith is like a big name out there and beat Callum Smith. But hey, my point is, Billy Joe Saunders is a good name for Canelo to face. He ain't no punk. He's not easy to beat. He always comes ready when the occasion to step up to the occasion, so you come ready for Canelo. And the thing about it is, Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade, they have a lot of similar attributes, being both southpaws. So I wanted to see Billy Joe Saunders face Demetrius Andrade. However, it's not written in stone that Canelo will face him. In fact, Canelo don't know who he's going to be facing next. He's just training. And that's interesting because what it tells me is I would like to see, honestly speaking, I would like to see Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol because a lot of people feel that Dimitri Bivol will beat Canelo Alvarez. I've heard them say that. Point blank, period. Dimitri Bivol would beat Canelo Alvarez, and I truly believe Canelo will beat Dimitri Bivol because of the attributes he has. His defense. Bivol's not going to get past Canelo's defense. That's the first thing. And the second thing is just hearing these guys talk. I was listening to Buddy McGirt, and he was saying that Bivol will beat him. I was hearing some guys on the boxing voice saying Bivol would beat him. I just don't see it. I don't see how Bivol is going to beat Canelo because Bivol don't move his head. He move his feet, but he don't move his head. Two, Bivol don't change levels like Canelo changed levels. And I just think overall, Canelo with the experience and the fact that he's about the same size as Bivol, I think that Canelo would triumph in the end. I think Bivol is a very good fighter. I think he's got nice little combinations, but what happens when you can't land your combinations? And he's gonna try and use that jab a lot, and Canelo's gonna read that jab, and then he's just gonna take Bivol apart very slowly, going to the body and then working his way through. Bivol's a good counterpuncher, but I just think that Canelo is a better counterpuncher than Bivol, and I think also he's a better all-around boxer than Bivol. So I think, skill-wise, I think Bivol's not better than Danny Jacobs, and therefore I think Canelo beats Bivol. Bivol don't have no upper body movement. You know what I'm saying? So I think Canelo beats Bivol, and I think Bivol is a better version of Lomachenko. I think Bivol is the best version actually because I think Bivol is better than Gvozdyk. I think he's better than Usyk. I think he's better than Lomachenko. So if you guys want to know what would happen if Canelo faced Lomachenko, then Bivol is an orthodox fighter, but it would be a kind of version of it because of the style of fighting. Him facing Dimitri Bivol would tell you everything. How he would deal with Usyk, how he would deal with Lomachenko. And I just don't see Bivol beating Canelo. Canelo got too good of defense, first of all. And then second of all, Canelo's just way too composed. Bivol throws too many punches. Canelo's going to read him. And then it's going to be a totally different story after that. So I think that, and Bivol has some speed and quickness, don't get me wrong. I just think Canelo just that much more sharper. I think he's that much more crisper with his punches. And I think that's going to be the determining factor because as much as I think Bivol can distance control and stuff, I think Canelo's going to close that distance. And Bivol's going to be fishing for him just like Danny Jacobs did, and he's not going to find him. And I don't think Bivol's as big as Danny Jacobs. So I just don't see how people saying that Bivol would beat Canelo, especially where Bivol doesn't have all the skill sets that Canelo has and the home skill sets at that. Canelo's been perfecting his skill sets. I just don't see how he's going to beat Canelo. That's a fight at 175. I think Canelo could stay at 175 and face. And I think it's a fight that he wins not easily. It's still going to be very competitive, but I think he wins in the end. I don't think he's going to knock out Bivol or anything like that. But I do think, because Bivol has good enough defense, but I do think he's going to tag him. I think he's going to catch him. I think he's going to wear him down. And I think he's not going to stop him, but he's going to be, in the latter half of the fight, I think he's going to be very conclusive that Canelo won that fight. He's going to take it in the latter half. But when it comes to Badou Jack, that's an interesting fight, as well as Artur Beterbiev. That's a very interesting fight. I think the toughest opposition he has at 175 is Beterbiev. The thing about Beterbiev is he depends on his timing because he's slower. He's slower than most boxers. Anywho's, guys, that's with Canelo. Let me talk about some other fights that are coming up that are mildly interesting. So this coming weekend, we got Wilder versus Ortiz. But the fight that I'm really interested in, which is not coming on the Wilder Ortiz card, is Badou Jack versus Jean Pascal. That's a fight coming up that's very intriguing to me. I would like to see how Badou Jack handles Jean Pascal, who's a big, strong light heavyweight. Badou Jack looks like he filled out into light heavyweight as well. And Jean Pascal is a little bit tricky in that he does do counterpunching pretty well. But Badou's going to go and work on Pascal's inside, break him down on the inside. And if he don't stop him, because Pascal's a very strong guy, I think he would get the decision on him. I think he wants to rematch with Marcus Brown as well. So that's something that he should get as well. Because I thought he was beating Marcus Brown until the headbutt. And I think that Badger Jack's another guy you got to watch out for at light heavyweight. I think he can give Canelo a couple problems. I think Canelo still could beat him, but he can give Canelo a couple problems because he's so good at pressure fighting on the inside. Um, so I could see him giving Canelo some problems. Um, Gilberto Ramirez, that's a good fight for Canelo. Two Mexican fighters. Gilberto Ramirez undefeated, or does he have a loss? I don't know, but that would be a good fight for him. Jesse Hart, he's going to be facing. He's facing. Who's he facing? I think Jesse Hart's paired up with. Trying to remember who it is. Oh, Joe Smith Jr. I have Jesse Hart winning that fight. Now I was listening to the 68 Scrapbook and he was talking about how he thought that Jesse Hart is not that good a boxer as he thinks, and I agree with that. But I think his fundamentals are pretty good. Against Gilberto Ramirez, got caught twice, but he was boxing okay. And then when he started closing the distance and fighting on the inside, he also fought pretty well. So Jesse Hart, he's not a bad boxer at all by a long shot. He's not average by a long shot. I think he's a little bit above average, like 68 was saying. I think that he's got better all-around boxing IQ skill than Joe Smith Jr., who's very good, solid, strong, um, light heavyweight. But I just didn't think he's I don't think he's going to beat a lot of the top light heavyweights. And when Bivol, who's much smaller than Joe Smith Jr., was able to outbox him like that and even looked like he was going to knock him down, stop him, I thought to myself, nah, I don't think he's ready for these guys. Um, so, you know, Joe Smith Jr. versus Jesse Hart is a good matchup, and I thought, I'd talk a little bit about it. When it comes to uh, Cecilia Brackes, she's going to be featuring. We got a couple, okay, for instance, on the fight card with Deontay Wilder versus Ortiz, we're going to have a feature with Leo Santa Cruz. He's fighting for a belt, I think it is, but against Flores. But again, I think that's a feature event. I don't think that Flores is going to beat Leo Santa Cruz. Now, one of the things that people say, and it's true, I was looking at actually uh, Vitaly Klitschko versus Shannon Briggs. I was watching that. When was it? I was watching that just this morning, I think it was. And one of the things I noticed is when a contender is really motivated, they don't get knocked out. Okay, and Shannon Briggs could take a punch, man, and he was motivated. I don't know if he was using steroids or not, but he was motivated. He wasn't getting out of there. And Vitaly was hitting him with the kitchen sink. And my point anyway is this: that having a motivated opponent, especially with the stakes being high, a motivated opponent is what you want. You want a motivated opponent that will come bring it and maybe get you to the next level. So you can't underestimate anybody. And with the case of, you saw Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Josh, for example, right? But I personally think that Wilder and Leo Santa Cruz, these are really feature. These are feature fights. I don't think that they're fights. It's just a Wilder fans. Sometimes you had back in the day feature fights where the champion would face somebody you know tough, but somebody they beat before. Well, I think this is kind of like that, except with Miguel Flores. Um, he never faced Leo Santa Cruz. Anyway, that fight should be interesting in the sense that it's going to be an action-packed fight for the casual fan, so the casual fan will enjoy it. Me personally, I don't want to see it either, so I'm not watching the card with Deontay Wilder versus Ortiz. But I think there are 3 championship bouts going to be on that card. So that's another one, and then I think there's a third one. But I think these are more featured cards to feature Wilder, to feature Flores. They're talking about Wilder having 10 championship wins, um, which would match, if I'm not mistaken, Muhammad Ali, I think they're saying. What some people say is that Wilder, he's had 41, he's going to go on 42 fights, 41 fights, and he's had, I think it is 39 KOs. People say 40 KOs. It's not 40 KOs because he didn't KO Berman Severn the first time, and he certainly did KO Tyson Fury. So you have to take those two fights out of the equation. I think there's some earlier fights also where he didn't KO his opponent. But anyway, the point is that um, you know they're saying that the guy in his championship bouts have almost every fight a KO was pretty impressive. I personally think that that doesn't get him into the Boxing Hall of Fame. You got to do a hell of a lot more than that. Okay, Joe Louis had 25, 26 championship defenses. Okay, um, until you get somewhere near that, I don't think you. I mean, yes, the fashion in which you're knocking out these guys is spectacular, but then again, they're not on your level. They're not on your level. When you face a fighter that's on your level like Tyson Fury, when you face a fighter that's on your level like a Luis Ortiz, you got Luis Ortiz out there, but Tyson Fury, you didn't look that great. Okay, I know you're gonna work the body more and stuff, but you didn't look that great. So Deontay Wilder needs to think about that. 68 made a very good point scrapbook that when Wilder starts going wild, whether it's just throwing his punches anyhow, how he does catch guys in the back of the head, he does rabbit punch people when he's getting wild, not when he's boxing. And I think that that's something that they need to keep tabs on, and that's what Luis Ortiz was saying. He didn't say that Wilder's dirty. He just said he's reckless, and that's true. Um, and so I'm just saying that yeah, he has these stats that are facts, but at the same time, I don't think it gets him into the Boxing Hall of Fame based on that. And I know back in the day, people are looking at a fearsome fighter, blah, blah, blah. Today, especially with me looking at boxing, I'm not a casual fan anymore. That does not impress me. When your opposition starts to step up and you're doing it to them still, that impresses me. And he did that with Tyson Fury. He knocked him down, but Tyson Fury got back up. Um, Nonetheless, I wanted to say also that when we look at Cecilia Brackers versus her opponent, it's again another feature bout because she's faced this girl before. And it's kind of hard when you have a low opponent pool, but still, and the top guys keep on coming back. But still, at the same time, Cecilia Brackers should challenge herself, maybe move up in weight or move down in weight, something like that, and face some new opposition. Why is she not doing that? I don't understand that part. And they say, well, she's too old to do that. Well, most guys, Joe Kawasaki was when he was older in his career. That's when he moved up in weight to lightweight. So I don't understand, like heavyweight. So I don't understand why she can't do it. And this is the kind of thing that I'm just wondering. I don't know what her plans are, but I don't think she want to face Clarissa Shields. Period. At 154, I don't think she want to mess with Clarissa Shields, who's going to be facing Habazan. She's going to be facing Habazin, I think, or Habazan, whatever it is. He's going to be facing her next year, January the 20 something. I can't remember which one it is. And that's a fight I'm looking forward to as well, to see Clarissa Shields. Again, I don't think that Habazan's got anything to beat her with. I don't think she's strong enough or whatever. But it's still a good fight. I do want to see Clarissa Shields rematch Hannah Gabriels. That's the fight I want to see. Hannah Gabriels obviously slights Clarissa Shields. She doesn't think she's pound for pound number one in the world, but I think she is. And I would like to see that rematch. I talked to you guys about Clarissa Shields versus Terrence Crawford. I haven't followed through on it to give you guys any more reports, but we will keep it. We'll keep you posted on that. Um, but at the end of the day, this is what I have to say about those fights that are upcoming. You got a couple of others for 2020 that look interesting. Pacquiao was talking about maybe facing Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia. We saw that Errol Spence has come back from the accident, but you can see one of his hands is not in. We not even seen one of his hands, so we don't know how bad that hand is. And the other hand, I don't know what's going on with that one because you've seen some bruising marks on his hands, and they don't look too good. So I don't know how Errol's doing. I see both guys kind of in between him, kind of propping him up as well. So I don't know how his health is doing. I see him in flip flops as well, so that might mean that his feet got damaged and stuff. He probably got cut up pretty bad, different parts of his body. And he does look a little bit, his face looks a little puffy, his body looks a little bit lean. So I don't know. He don't look like he in fighting shape at all, or in any training camp or anything. But we'll see what happens with him. He made it. God has been good to him, man. He needs to be thankful. God has been good to him, you know. And hopefully he can get back into boxing and start back boxing. It's gonna be hard because it could be his hands that have problems or whatever. But whatever happens, as with respect to his career and his future, we just hope and pray for the best. I don't think that Mikey Garcia fight is doable at this time. I think he needs a little bit more time to get himself rehabbed properly, get himself in order, his brain, his mind, his heart, everything in order before he steps into that ring. And then he has to train and all of that. I think it's just too close right now to have the Danny Garcia fight. So the Danny Garcia might end up facing Manny Pacquiao, which would be a very good matchup for Manny Pacquiao. I always said that Danny Garcia remind me of modern day Marquez. Pacquiao could get a win over Danny Garcia. He could look at the Marquez trilogy and say, you know what, I got some sweet consolation by beating Danny Garcia, but I don't think that's going to be as easy as it sounds. Danny Garcia is a counterpuncher, and he's really good at what he does, and he's been looking very strong of late. So I don't know if Pacquiao can get past Danny Garcia. I know he got past Keith Thurman, but I don't know if he can get past Danny Garcia. But he has proven me wrong numerous times, so we'll see. His speed's going to be a factor in the fight. But Danny cuts off the ring very well and does a lot of things very, very well. He's very solid. He's got much stronger chin than Keith Thurman. He's not going to just get dropped like that. So he got a very good stance as well, and he stays balanced. He stays very much balanced. He's got underrated defense as well. So I mean, I would love to see that instead of Mikey Garcia versus Pacquiao. I think Mikey Garcia coming off a loss hasn't really fought any other fights. I just don't think he deserves it. I think Danny, with his impressive win over Adrian Granados, I think he should get the fight against Pacquiao. And Errol Spence should just wait it out for a little bit in 2020 until he's really up in shape, and then he could face whoever he wants to face. I personally thought that Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter, which we're talking about as a rematch, was a dumb thing to do, and Danny Garcia also agrees. And he didn't have no belt, nothing to get, so why would he rematch Sean Porter? Sean Porter, on the other hand, you know, a good fight for him would have been Terrence Crawford next year. But I'm hearing Crawford talking about how he's friends with Sean Porter, and this bullshit that I really don't like. You know, this is a guy you should be facing. Why are you bucking like that? You should be facing this dude. And dude is a stiff test. Let's see it. You know, did you guys ever spar together? No. Then what the hell are you doing? Face Sean Porter. You know, that's a good fight for Terrence Crawford. He's going to be facing Gavalios. This is another feature showcase fight for him, so he should get over Gavalios quite quickly. He should dispose of him within the first three. I don't see why he won't. I mean, if he wants to, he can draw it on longer, but he going to knock out Gavalios. Bad, 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 bad. Gavalios couldn't even handle Ray Robinson. How you going to handle it? Ray Robinson's southpaw. And he don't even have all that big set of power. And he couldn't handle it. You know, he was tagging him with left hands all the time. What do you think Terrence Crawford going to do? I'll knock him out, man. Within three. I'm being generous. It really should be within one, but you know, I'll let Terrence do his thing. I'm not gonna be unreasonable with Terrence. Within 3 rounds, he should get rid of Gavalios because no damage, no problems, and then he should be able to get on to his next fight, which hopefully, for once, is somebody credible. You know, like I said before, Kell Brooks, you know, Sergey Lipinets, Sean Porter. You know, those are real names. Mikey Garcia, again, I wouldn't face Mikey Garcia until he faced something and get a W. He gets a W, then we could talk about it. But until then, he came off a loss, and a unanimous decision loss at that. So I don't want to see Mikey Garcia facing anybody until he gets a W. That's how I look at it. But hey, what do you know? We don't know how it will turn out. So anyway, that's what I got to say about those fights. I do think that, you know, we've seen a lot of guys facing their mandatories. Billy Joe Saunders just faced a dude who was his mandatory. We got, they don't really have any interesting fights, really. Charlo's going to be facing, I don't know what that dude is. There ain't 154 pounder. I don't even know why he's facing that dude. Dennis. Oh, okay. Who is Dennis Hogan? The guy that people technically think beat Munguia, but that was a 154, ladies and gentlemen. That's not 160. I mean, anyway, after he gets his ass knocked out, then we're going to see Jamal Charlo hopefully face maybe a Demetrius Andre, maybe a Triple G, maybe a, you know, somebody I know. Maybe Chris Eubank Jr. You know, he's going to be facing a good test. Matt Korobov, that's a good fight. I think he's on the undercard of, I'm trying to remember what's the undercard of. I don't know which undercard he's on under, but that's a good fight for next year. That's next year's fight. So those upcoming fights, they're interesting to me. Korobov's talking about facing Charlo if he wins, and Eubank is talking about facing Charlo if he wins. I would like to see Eubank versus Charlo. That would be a good fight. That's a good fight as well. But Charlo ain't facing nobody, man. He ain't facing nobody. Hogan's a step down from Adams. And then Demetrius Andrade, he's not facing anybody either. He's facing some dude, I forgot his name even. And Steve, what? Steve something, another Steve. Steve, whatever his name. It's supposed to be a mandatory. And it's that down as well. Even though Andrew was trying to get the Billy Joe Sanders fight, which Billy Joe Sanders is open to. He's open to facing Wilder. Not Wilder. Andre down the stretch. So that should be good too. Anyway, people, so I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I do have something cooking on the slow cooker, but it's gonna take too long. So I'm gonna go out there get something to eat. In Trinidad, we have something called doubles. I'll show you guys that stuff in time. But anyway, until then, peace to you guys. Hope you guys have a good one. Don't forget you can subscribe, share, comment, and donate via Western Union or MoneyGram. Deuces, I'm out. Peace.